Amara and Emeka were the envy of their friends and family. They lived in a spacious modern home in the upscale neighborhood of Lekki, Lagos. Emeka was a successful banker, always impeccably dressed and admired for his sharp mind and charisma. Amara, a former fashion designer, had given up her career to focus on their home and their two children, Kenny and Ada. From the outside, their life seemed perfect: a beautiful family, financial stability, and a marriage that everyone admired. But behind the facade, cracks were beginning to show. Emeka's demanding job often kept him away from home, leaving Amara feeling lonely and neglected. She spent her days managing the household, but the monotony of her routine left her yearning for something more. She missed the excitement of her career, the thrill of creating something new, and most of all, she missed the connection she once had with Emeka. Chike had been working for the family for 3 years. He was in his late 20s, tall and well built, with a charming smile that made him popular with everyone in the neighborhood. He was diligent, always going above and beyond to ensure the house was spotless and the family's needs were met. Over time, he had become more than just a house help. He was a part of the family. Amara had always been kind to Chike, treating him with respect and fairness. But as her loneliness grew, she found herself seeking his company more often. They would chat in the kitchen while she prepared meals, and she found his easygoing nature and sense of humor refreshing. Chike, in turn, admired Amara's beauty and grace. He knew his place, but he couldn't help the feelings that began to stir within him. One afternoon, while Emeka was away on a business trip, Amara and Chike found themselves alone in the house. The children were at school and the house was quiet. Amara was in the kitchen, trying out a new recipe, when Chike walked in to clean the counters. "Madam, you're always cooking something delicious," Chike said with a smile. "The whole house smells amazing." Amara laughed. "Thank you, Chike. You're always so kind with your words." Their eyes met, and for a moment, the air between them felt charged. Amara quickly looked away, her heart racing. She told herself it was nothing, but the seed of temptation had been planted. Over the next few weeks, Amara and Chike's interactions became more frequent and intimate. They would share lingering glances, and their conversations grew more personal. One evening after the children had gone to bed, Amara and Chike found themselves sitting in the living room, talking about their dreams and regrets. "Sometimes I feel like I've lost myself," Amara confessed. "I gave up so much for this life, and now I don't even know who I am anymore." Chike listened intently, his eyes filled with empathy. "Madame, you're a strong woman. You've done so much for your family, but you deserve to be happy too." Their hands brushed, and before either of them could stop themselves, they were kissing. It was a moment of passion and recklessness, a moment that would change everything. The next morning, Amara woke up filled with guilt. She couldn't believe what she had done. She avoided Chike's gaze, her mind racing with thoughts of how she could have betrayed Emeka. But despite her guilt, she couldn't deny the thrill she felt. Whenever she was near Chike, their affair continued in secret, hidden behind closed doors and whispered conversations. Amara became paranoid, constantly worried that Emeka or the children would find out. She started checking her phone obsessively, deleting messages and making sure there was no evidence of her betrayal. One evening, Emeka returned home early from a business trip. He had missed his family and wanted to surprise them. But what he found was a surprise he never could have imagined. As he walked into the house, he heard laughter coming from the kitchen. He followed the sound and froze in the doorway. Amara and Chike were standing close together, their faces flushed with laughter and something else, something that made Emeka's blood run cold. "What is going on here?" Emeka's voice was low and dangerous. Amara and Chike turned, their faces pale with shock. "Emeka, it's not what you think," Amara began, but Emeka cut her off. "Don't insult my intelligence, Amara. I know what I saw." Chike quickly excused himself, leaving Amara to face Emeka alone. The tension in the room was palpable, and Amara felt like the walls were closing in on her. Emeka's anger was like a storm, fierce and unrelenting. "How could you do this to me, to our family? I trusted you, Amara." Amara's tears flowed freely as she tried to explain. "I'm so sorry, Emeka. I never meant for this to happen. I was lonely, and I made a terrible mistake." "A mistake?" Emeka's voice was filled with disbelief. "This wasn't a mistake, Amara. This was a choice. You chose to betray me, to betray our marriage." The argument lasted for hours, with Emeka's anger and Amara's guilt clashing like thunder and lightning. By the end of it, Emeka was exhausted, his heart shattered into a million pieces. Amara felt the weight of her actions crushing her, and she knew there was no easy way to fix what she had broken. The days that followed were filled with tension and heartbreak. Chike was sent away, and the house felt emptier without his presence. Emeka moved into the guest room, unable to bear the thought of sharing a bed with Amara. The children sensed that something was wrong, but their parents' strained smiles and forced laughter did little to reassure them. Amara tried to reach out to Emeka, to apologize and beg for his forgiveness, but he was distant and cold. He threw himself into his work, using it as a distraction from the pain that consumed him. Amara knew that she had to take responsibility for her actions. She started attending counseling sessions, hoping to understand why she had made such a devastating choice. She also wrote a heartfelt letter to Emeka, pouring out her remorse and her desire to make things right. "Emeka, I know I've hurt you in the worst possible way, and I don't expect you to forgive me easily. But I want you to know that I'm truly sorry. I am willing to do whatever it takes to rebuild the trust I've broken and to show you that I'm committed to our marriage." Emeka read the letter in silence, his emotions swelling like a storm. He wasn't ready to forgive her, but he couldn't deny the love he still felt for her. He agreed to attend counseling with her, and together they began the long and difficult journey toward healing. The road to redemption was not easy. There were moments of anger, tears, and doubt. But through it all, Amara and Emeka held on to the hope that their love could survive. They learned to communicate openly, to address the issues that had driven them apart, and to rebuild the trust that had been shattered. In the end, their marriage emerged stronger, forged in the fires of betrayal and forgiveness. They knew that their journey was far from over, but they were committed to facing it together.